Hi there. Truth changed my life a few years ago when I realized how valuable I am. And I want everyone in that room to walk away feeling like the most valuable person on planet Earth, because you are. So that's what I'm going to speak about today. I can't tell you how personal it is for me. It comes directly from my heart. So it just seems so interesting that we work so hard to build a great resume so that we'll be wanted by employers, so that we'll feel like we're worth hiring, or we'll work out endless hours so that we'll feel attractive, or so that we'll feel dateable, or just attractive so other people think that of us. Or we work so hard to be great at our jobs, to make a great income so that we feel like we're worth something, we're really valuable, and so that others see us as successful. The list could go on. We work so hard to give a great TED Talk so that we feel like we're worthy of this stage, and so that you think, wow, this is someone I should listen to. So today, I'm going to speak about truth. And if there's absolutely nothing you take from this talk at all, I want it to be this. I want you to know, not just here, but here, that you are infinitely valuable, innately. And there's nothing that anyone can ever do to take away from this. Nothing. You can't take away from it. No one else can take away from it. It's just fact. It is truth. You are so valuable. That's what I'm speaking about today. I just showed all my cards, so I might as well just leave now. But this changed my life just a few years ago. To tell you the backstory, I grew up in this really great family. I have the best parents on planet Earth, actually. I did a Google search, and it turns out they're the best. I'm sure yours are great too. But they're really fantastic people. And I always knew that they love me, right? And they're proud of me. And this will always be the case. It'll never change. So I grew up with that sort of background where I was a confident kid because I knew I was supported. And in 2007, I graduated from college at Purdue, and I moved back home to Boise, Idaho, in case you were wondering where that is. It's a pretty great place, in fact. And I moved back a little bit cocky because I'd done fairly well in real estate my senior year of college, so I went back feeling like a big shot. And it happened to be 2007. And I dumped all my money into real estate, which to me was a lot of money. And in 2008, I think you guys can guess what happened. It all went bye-bye because the economy dumped. First thing was the real estate market. All I had went away. But more importantly, what happened is not only my money went away, I mean, that's just money, my self-worth went down the tank, right? I felt like a big failure. I think we've all been there in one way, shape, or form in our lives, where we go through things that just make us feel like we've failed. That's a big lie, and it's very easy to fall for, and it's a really heavy word to own, failure. So that's what I was going through. I lost all this money. I had to give up my truck, which I really liked, because I couldn't afford another payment. I had to move back in with my parents. I'm in my mid-20s, so that's kind of humbling for me. I had my heart broken, which was hard to deal with. Just had no direction for my life. I had no idea what I was good at. I didn't know what the heck I was passionate about. And fear of my future. Like, if it's already this bad and I'm only 25, my gosh, this is gonna be rough. It felt like a bad trajectory to be on. So it was a scary time. So I'm dealing with all kinds of fear and anxiety and panic, really, and shame. And so I remember driving down the freeway, and I thought, man, if something catastrophic were to happen today, and I was in a car wreck and I died, I don't want to die, but if that happened, what difference would it really make? You know, my family would be devastated. My friends would be sad. I don't want to die. But what difference would it really make? What value would the world really lose? What value? And that was my low point. That's what I would consider my low point, because I'd never really questioned my value in that way, at least not that I'd realized. That was not fun. So at this time, I finally make a mental connection between what I went through as a kid and what I was going through now in my mid-20s with fear, anxiety, guilt, shame. I don't know how I never made the connection before. But you see, I was sexually abused when I was 6 years old by a trusted friend. Someone who I trusted, my family trusted him, he was my friend. So because of that, it was a very confusing situation, 6 years old. You don't have the logic or maturity to process that. I didn't even have a word for it. I didn't even know what to call it. All I knew was that it was bad, right? That's it. That's all I knew. And therefore, because my parents are such great people, I can't tell them. If they find out what I've done, oh my gosh, my life is over. They'll be devastated. My life will be ruined. Game over. So I'm 6, right? I see myself not as a victim, but an accomplice. And it's worth noting that I do not consider myself a victim, but however, I was one at one time. But that's what I went through at 6. And the most important part here that took me so long to realize is that here I am at age 6, and this very simple, subtle, and poignant, devastating lie took root right here. Here too, but really here in my heart. And the lie? I'm bad. So simple. It almost sounds trivial and trite. But it was so heavy because I remember driving away from this house where it would happen so often. I'm with my mom in the car, and I've always been close with my mom. And she must have sensed that I was acting a little funny, and she asked, is there something you need to tell me? And I said, no. And boom, right then, that was the very first moment that I can recall having a panic attack, a very intense panic attack at age 6. The first of many that I would have over the course of the next 20 years, because I was now trapped in this lie, and I can't get out of it. So I'm gonna have to take this to my grave. It was a scary time. So here I am, I'm in my mid-20s, I'm at this low point, and I guess I was finally to a point where I knew logically that it's not my fault. So I finally decided to tell my parents, this thing that I'd been so afraid to do forever, because they'd be so devastated. And I tell them, and you know what happened? They loved me. They were proud of me, right? Shouldn't even surprise me, but my gosh, if only I had known. So they were so supportive of me, and over the course of the next year, it's still a rough time. It's not like it just went away. I'm still going through all this junk. And with their encouragement, I went to a counselor. His name is Swede. It was scary to go to him because crazy people with really big problems go to counselors, and that's not me. Turns out I'm wrong. Counselors are for everyone. We all need counselors. We all have them in one way, shape, or form, even if it's just over coffee. Swede spoke truth into my life, and he helped me see myself through a different lens that I have never looked at myself through before. And I'm still shocked by the result. I feel like it's too good to be true. He changed my life. Here's what happened. I grew up in the church. I've always been a person of deep faith, and I grew up hearing this Bible verse that even if you're not a person of faith, you'll know this verse. It's the second half of a verse in John. The truth will set you free, right? We all know this verse. This verse, whenever I'd hear it in church, scared the crap out of me. It would make my heart pound, and it gave me intense panic attacks, because what it meant to me is that until you tell the truth about what you've done, about who you really are, you will never be free, ever. You're trapped in this lie, in this prison of your own creation, and that's it. But obviously, I can't tell the truth, because if I do, my life is over, devastated. Well, so I've been going to counseling for a couple months now, I think, and I'd had truth spoken into my life and into my heart. I'm driving downtown to get a cup of coffee and read a book one evening, because my social life was pretty phenomenal. Not much has changed. Besides, I have a great wife now. She's cool, so I have that redeeming factor. But I'm driving down the freeway, and I'm sorry, if you haven't noticed, my lips are sticking to my teeth, and my teeth are not small. It makes a long way for them to close. You can joke about it, everyone does. So I'm headed downtown to read a book, just a normal evening. And it dawns on me, oh my gosh, I've had this verse that I've heard all my life completely backward in my mind. I've completely misunderstood this my entire life to mean that until you tell the truth, you'll never be free. Going through counseling, I finally realized, oh my gosh, because I now know the truth about myself, that I am infinitely valuable, innately. And there's nothing that anyone can ever do to change this. Not what happened then, not what happens in the future. I can't change it, you can't change it. Because I finally know this truth about myself, I am now completely free, totally free. It doesn't matter at all what anyone thinks of me. Flat out does not matter. I can't tell you how huge of an impact this had on me. This changed my life. My gosh. I've been worried so much, and I've had this totally backward, and I've possessed this worth my entire life. And then I thought, holy cow, this same truth applies to every single person. My gosh, if only we realize how valuable we are. Do you realize how valuable you are? It's incredible. So I use my story. I saw that I'm not alone in what I went through as a kid, and it happens to roughly 20% of the population, which is insane. Most people never talk about it, which I totally get, but it has such a deep impact on how we value ourselves. So I started a nonprofit, as she mentioned, called Speak Your Silence, and we're focused on child sexual abuse and breaking the stigma associated with it, because it's always been my belief that, this is an awkward, taboo, issue. And it's the statistics are never going to change. You're never going to prevent it or help people who've been through it to maximum effect until you totally change the social dynamics that surround the entire issue and make it something people can actually be excited to champion. So that's what I do, and it's been fun to turn my once really crappy story into this powerful asset that can change people's lives. But that's my story, and it's relevant to me. But when I wake up every morning and I go to work, I love my job, I'm not motivated by sexual abuse. I'm motivated by truth and the ability to share it with each of you. That it doesn't matter what you've been through. I hope you haven't even been through that. No matter what you've been through, you've all gone through things that make you question your worth and your value. And the truth is that you are so valuable. And I want to share that, because this isn't just an idea worth spreading. This is a truth that must be spread. I will admit, I look at other nonprofits and I compare successes, and I listen to that untruth that I'm not good enough, and I use that as a gauge to measure my worth. If I fall for that lie, I'll look at other founders and CEOs killing it and look at myself and go, man, get on that stage and give a good talk so they know that you are good. We're all trying to do things like that, and there's nothing wrong with great goals, but we're so often driven by untruths. We're so often trying to prove to people how valuable we are, prove to ourselves how valuable we are. But we already possess it. It's already truth. It's unchangeable. And when you realize it, when you don't just realize it here, but here, it changes everything. It changes how we make decisions, everything we do. How much less murder and suicide and anger and fear and theft and jerk drivers would there be if we all knew just how valuable we are? So again, if you take nothing else from what I say today, I want it to be this, because it's so important. It's so important, and it's true. It's foundational, and it's so true. You are so valuable. You possess so much worth. Infinite. You're a precious life. And you have a unique role to play that only you can play. Only you. In a unique way that only you can do it. And we need you. You're so valuable. Please know that. Thank you.